Hey guys, Fire here, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Spectral Light's Speed Life. This game is currently available in the Xbox Store, and it is a first-person platformer game. And let me tell you, this might just be one of my favorite games to hit at Xbox as far as like a ID indie style title in a very long time. If you don't know what a first-person platformer is, it's pretty much a first-person perspective to take on a platformer game. And the way Spectral Light does things is it uses an almost like tantalizing world of jumps and tricks and movements for you to get through a stage from one point to the end, but also throwing in a mix of skill and also a mix of a lot of having to adapt and really figure out your way when it comes to moving throughout the world. Now, what I like the most about this game is the levels are honestly very challenging, but straightforward for the most part. As far as controls, this game's got very simplistic controls that are easy to do and easy to manage. I'm sorry that I keep missing this jump here. You guys know that playing and talking has never really been my strong point or strong suit, so kind of do my best as I can as we go here. But the way the game works is it uses a various amount of elements from wall riding to bounce pads to little jumping points that kind of zip you straight through the area, and everything works together to give kind of a cohesive experience where the game has you trying to figure out just what the next section and area that you need to do on the course to continue to get further in the game. Now, as you can see right here, I'm actually playing one of the levels here, and I missed my cue there, but I'm playing one of the levels where there's nothing that's like timed. I don't have a set goal to do things, but the game does a good mix of introducing some stages where you have to beat a certain time to continue to progress further, and then as you get even further in the game, you're also going to be presented with a mix of honestly mind-bending and very puzzly courses throughout the game. I mean it when I say this game does get challenging and difficult, and probably the closest game that I could ever like compare this game to is if you ever had an opportunity to play Mirror's Edge back on the Xbox 360. This is going to be a game that really hits the feels quite well, and it's going to be a good nostalgic throwback for such a great Xbox 360 game that, you know, it's nice to see something like this hit on the Series X and S consoles, and even the original Xbox One. I believe it's available on there as well. And it's a game that's done very well. Like, aesthetically, like, the game just looks badass. It's got this kind of cyberpunk-esque environment that you're kind of playing in, and while you're going throughout everything in the course, you're having to really just figure out what you can do to kind of use your movement to, you know, just go everywhere. And there's not always going to be like a pathway that is completely obvious, especially when you get into some of the later stages. I think I spent probably close to 2 hours just trying to figure out what the heck I was supposed to do, when things finally just started to click for me with how the game goes. Now, what I do really enjoy about this game is it does a really great job at introducing skill, but also being very simplistic in its own set. Now, as far as like the way the game works with the controls of the game, you literally just look around with your 2 analog sticks, and then you hit right bumper to jump. There's no other controls outside of using your left bumper to kind of reset what you're doing. Everything gets kind of baselined off of just timing when to hit walls and timing when to jump. And when you first start out in the game, you're going to have these kind of like wall riding things like I was talking about, and then you slowly get introduced to the various other movement elements that the game actually has to offer for you while you're playing. And speaking of like movement, like, it's one of the best like fluid feelings that I've experienced with this game, because the movement just feels on point. You don't really feel like there's any struggle in what you're doing. Everything just kind of works and kind of just cohesively messaged together. So with all that, like, the controls get very, very easy to kind of manage and maintain, and you don't really ever feel like overwhelmed pushing buttons and having to like stress with different things. I do want to show you real quick one of those kind of speed running levels that I was talking about here before I kind of share my overall final thoughts. This is one of those levels where precision and timing is key in everything you do, because if you miss one of your opportunities for movement, you will ultimately just fail out this entire level here, which makes it very tricky as you have to maintain everything that you're doing throughout the level to be able to sit and progress. Every jump is precise, and this is really the skill part of the game. If you don't practice and take your time and just know that you're gonna fail these levels more times than you're probably willing to want to really go through, but it's so fulfilling and rewarding when you actually do end up completing out that level and you can just continue on to the next stage of the game, you know. And I tell you what, like, the levels get more and more difficult, so if you think, you know, this very first level that you're kind of inducted to in the game is a challenging one, you really aren't going to be ready for what's kind of coming ahead for you in the game. The jumps, the timings, the sequences, everything gets to where you don't have an opportunity for error, and you have to be, you know, like I said, very precise in everything you do, and being able to build the timing. I'll tell you, if you don't have a controller that has, you know, crazy good response times, might be a time where you might want to switch to a controller, or maybe consider picking up a new one where your right trigger is going to be as on point as you ever need it to be. And if you're unable to, you know, really get a new controller, you can always use like the Xbox accessibility app and try to see if you can tweak any of your settings for sensitivity, stick drift, or anything like that. And that is available in the Xbox store for you to be able to check out and pick up. But as far as, you know, my opinions of Spectre like Speed Life, you know, this has been, like I said, easily one of my favorite like indie titles to hit the Xbox in a very long time. Maybe it's just because I like platformers so much, and when you throw in the element of just precision and, you know, with a really cool looking environment and just everything this game has going on for it, it just kind of ticks all the right boxes for me to be a near perfect game. You know, it does mention in the game that there are leaderboards, but I've been unable to really find a way to see how like my times stack up against like my friends or other people online. So it is one of the, as I say that now, I actually just did find the leaderboards. Go figure, I haven't really looked too hard for these. But yeah, the leaderboards are here, so you can kind of see how you rank. It does look like they're not quite working properly, which is unfortunate, but you can kind of see how you go toe-to-toe against your friends and other players online. Hopefully, once those are kind of working closer to release. Now, I will let you know I have had some issues with the game when it comes to some achievements not unlocking properly. I have reported this to the developers, so there is something that they are looking into. But outside of that, I definitely expect Spectre Light's a great game. Like I said, I don't know the price yet, but honestly, if it comes in at any price under $20, I think you're going to have a ton of fun checking out this cool indie game. Yeah, and I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. I'll try to answer things the best I can. You know, there's a lot of playtime with this game, so it's really a good time, and you know, something that is really fun, and I would definitely recommend. Again, outside of that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any if you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to my channel or checking out one of the other two videos on your screen. Outside of that, I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time.